Hello everybody, it's me Sam with WoopaGaming, and today I'm going to be showing you the PermissionsEx plugin for Bucket. Now many people ask me what permission system do you use, and I always say PermissionsEx. This is one of the many permissions plugins on Bucket, but I believe that it's one of the better permission system. It's the most simplest to use, it supports the Bucket permissions, supports compatibility with 2.7 mods, and SQL support, and many more things. So this is why I would recommend PermissionsEx, and this is why. So we're going to go over how to use and install it. So you're going to want to download the stable version here. I've already done that, and you should get a zip file. Open that up and you'll get 4 plugins. So these 4 jars need to be dragged and dropped into your plugins directory. Now I've already done that, so I don't have to bother. Okay, so let's just quickly go over what each one is. So the PermissionsEx jar, this is the actual PermissionsEx plugin itself. You will need this when using the permissions plugin. Permissions.jar, this is compatibility layout for the permissions 2.7 system. Some plugins might be outdated, for instance, and they won't work with the new permission system. So if you still have those plugins, you want to have a permissions jar just to add that compatibility layer. It's starting to get less used because more mods are being updated, so you probably won't need this soon. Modify World is a feature plugin for PermissionsEx, and it is necessary if you want to use any of the modify and world commands, things like if you want to give someone permission to build in a certain area or to be attacked by mobs and that sort of thing. And Chat Manager is also another feature plugin, and if you want to use stuff like the prefixes, suffixes, when people can talk, the radius that they can talk and such forth. So the only thing you really need here is PermissionsEx, but I'm going to go over just to have all of them just for simplicity. So start the server up, and you should see PermissionsEx, loading PermissionsEx, version 1.18 or whatever version you're using, SuperPerm support enabled, and it should say enabled. So that's all good, we've got it running. So let's stop the server and let's see what's been created. So we go to plugins, we should see 3 directories. Just going to quickly go over the Chat Manager and Modify Manager just because they're really quick. Chat Manager, you've got one config.yml. This just handles all the Chat Manager, like prefix and stuff. So you have this, enable it. If you want to use this, you have to set this to true and whatnot. So this is the message format. So what it will do, it will send the prefix before the player's name, then the player name, then the suffix after the player's name, and then its message. You also got a global message format as well, which is similar. And what else you've got is this range mode. So what this range mode will do is that people can only talk to players within 100 radius from their location. The radius can be changed here, but at the moment that's set to false, so you have to set that to true. So that's really quickly the Chat Manager. Modify World, very similar. You have to enable this to true. So enable that to true to actually use it, and then you've got some messages here. What will happen if they use a prohibited item, and then the $S mean not $S, percentage S means the item name, and any whitelist message. So if they're not on the whitelist, this will the message that will be displayed. And you can also have whether or not to inform the players that they've done something they can't do, and then whether or not you want to use item restrictions as well. So they're nice and simple, pretty self-explanatory, but there you go. So let's actually go on to PermissionsEx. Now you get 2 YML files, config.yml and permissions.yml. Go over config.yml. So these are just the config for the actual plugin. So if you want to change this to use SQL, you can change this file to SQL here, and then you have to modify the backend file bit. It actually supports many database systems, but you have to tell it what to do. SuperPerm, so this is the SuperPerm support. You can turn this true or false, so you can turn it on or off. This is the bucket permission system, so you can set that whether or not to use that. Create user records, so this is when a user logs on, it will add the user to the file. If you're getting a lot of users that don't stay on for long, you might want to keep this false. So there you go. Debug, you shouldn't have to worry about that. Allow ops is self-explanatory whether or not you allow ops or not. And then the base directory, if you want to change this for whatever reason, you can change that. but at the moment its default is plugins/PermissionsEx, which is where we are at the moment. So I'm not going to save that. Now into the nitty gritty bit. There's going to be two bits where I go over the config, this bit here, and we'll also go over some of the commands in game as well. Okay, so this is the default permissions.yml. At the moment it's pretty bare. Let's just maximize that there. Right. So let's go over how to create groups. So this is the default group. When a player joins the game, they will be put into this group, and then we have one permission node, which is modifyWorld.start. Now, permission nodes are basically a string that you give it someone, and that will allow them to do certain things in each plugin. Every plugin will have permission nodes. Well, not every plugin, but the majority will. For instance, Magic Carpet will have a permission node which will allow people to use the Magic Carpet command. So you'll add that. But what I'm going to do is just go over briefly how to create groups. So this is the default group. Let's add a new group. Let's call it member. So we're going to make sure that this is in line with the default line. Now you could use Notepad++ to make this easier, but I'm just going to use WordPad. I would not recommend using Notepad. It just doesn't work. And tabs, do never press the tab button. Just use spaces. So let's create a group called member. So we do the group name, colon, hit enter. Now we want to go along to here, and let's set a prefix for this member. So we're going to type in prefix, colon, space, and then the prefix in speech marks. So let's have member, and let's put it in brackets. Now what we can also do in this prefix bit, we can also add color codes. So we use color codes by using the ampersand symbol and then the actual color. So C, for instance, is red. So that will show a red member. And then what we want to do is actually change this back to white, so what the player's message says, or the player's name, will be white. So I believe that is 7. Not completely sure on that, but there we go. So that's that. So that's how you do a prefix. You can do the exact same thing with suffix, just replacing prefix with suffix. Now we're actually going to add some permission nodes. So let's do permissions, colon, and go again. Case name, what press hyphen, space, and then the node we want to give them. For this example, let's just give them a fake command. So fake.fake. This is a not real permission node, but this is how you would add one, which the other plugins will give you. So that's that. And then let's add a rank to it. So I'm going to go over ranks in a second, but let's just add a rank to it. So you do this by doing options, colon, and then going over to about here, rank, colon, and then in brackets we'll put the rank. So let's put 900, and let's add a rank to the default group. So options, colon, and I'm going to go over ranks in a second. Rank 100. Just one thing to note before I go on to ranks. Ranks allow you to move players up and down. So there will be a upgrade and a degrade command, which I'll go over, and this will move someone's group from the lower group up to the next highest group. So each group must be to find a rank. This is a number. It can be however size, but the bigger the number, the lower the rank is. So for instance, if the player was in group default and I ranked them up, the next highest rank number is 900, because that's lower than the 1000, so it will rank them up. Now of course you can have multiple numbers in multiple groups, so however you use it is up to you. Okay, so that's that. We can add more groups and whatnot. But let's, for instance, let's add some world support. One of the great things about PermissionsEx, it has world support. So let's add that now. So what we'll do, we'll go along and type in worlds, colon. Now we're going to type in the world name, so let's have world nether. And then we'll have permissions. And let's give them another permission. Let's give them fake.fake2. Now what I've done there is when they're in the world nether, they'll have an extra permission node, fake.fake2. So this will give them the extra permission node that they need. We can also add other things like a different prefix if they're in the world nether and such like. And you can add as many worlds as you like, exact same way. Just type in the world name and then permissions and whatnot. But that's how we add world support to the group. Another thing is another node. Let's just add another node. It's the star node. So you type it in like that with speech marks, and this will basically allow the person to have every command there is, provided that the plugin supports it. So that will give them all commands. So now let's add users. So hit enter, you can type in users, hit enter again, space along, and now we type the username. So we'll have Sam here, colon, and now let's define what group they're in. So I think it's about here, group, colon, and then go along, hyphen, and then we add the group name, so member. And we can add as many users as we like. I can add extra, it could be in a different group. I can add per player permissions as well, which is great. But let's just make sure that it all works. So Control S to save, and if we run the server, we hopefully have no problems. Right, so that's good. I've typed it incorrectly. But one of the things is we can actually check this. So let's do YML parse. I'll provide a link in the description. Go onto here. Right, you want to paste your permissions.yml file into here, and it should display this nice error-free message. What if, for instance, I place a space here and that's messed up the permissions? What it'll do is it'll tell me that there's an error. So first of all, it'll say error, but it'll also tell me where that error is. So it's found roughly about line 12, column 9, which is about here. So if we remove that, we can see where it is, and we can fix the error, and then it'll work. If there is any errors, then PermissionsEx will just reject the file and it won't use it. Okay, so that's the basics of it. Let's add a little bit extra. I'm going to go on some commands soon as well. Let's add some inheritance. So, what does inheritance mean? Inheritance means that the group inherits all of the nodes that the parent group has. So, let's make member inherit the default group. So what we'll do is we'll add after the prefix. It doesn't have to be after the prefix, but we'll do it here. Inheritance, and then we'll have it inherit the group default. So that what this will do is it will give any players in the member group all the member permission nodes, but it will also give them all the default permission nodes as well. Some things to note: it won't give them prefixes, and it won't give them things like ranks and stuff. That's just ignored. But this just allows you to have parents and children groups, and you can change these how you like. So that's how you use the inheritance. For instance, I can create another group called admin, and it would inherit member. So that admin group would inherit all the member nodes, and it would inherit all the default nodes as well. Okay, so that's inheritance. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is going to go in game and go over how to use the nodes in game. So like I said, if you have any problems with it loading up and throwing all sort of errors, check the YML parser first, make sure it's all correct, and if you're still getting problems, then obviously go on the forums for PermissionsEx, and then hopefully they'll help you there. Okay, so now I'll meet you in game and we'll go over the commands. Hello everybody, you now join me in game when I'll be going over the PermissionsEx commands in game. Okay, so first of all, let's make sure it's all working. If I don't type in hello, I've enabled the chat manager plugin, and as you can see it's displayed my prefix which I defined for the member group, and I'm in the member group, so there we are, which shows our prefix. Unfortunately I did get the white colour code wrong and it's shown grey, but hey ho, there we go. Anyway, so let's go over the commands. So the first command we're going to do is PEX group. Now this will list all the groups that are available on your server. So as you can see, there's the default group as well as the member group. You want to see that the member group has default in these green square brackets. That just means it inherits the default group. You can also see the rank as well. So the rank here is 900 and the rank is 1000, which you saw in the previous part. That just means that this is a higher rank than the default group. So let's create our own group. And do PEX group, and then the group name, let's call it VIP. Create. And we can just leave it as that, but we can also add an inheritance after this. Let's make it inherit member. So now we've created the VIP group. So if we do group PEX group, we should be able to see the new VIP group as well as its inheritance. You also notice that it doesn't have a rank yet. Let's define a rank. So we do PEX group, the group name, which is VIP, set rank, and then the rank. So let's have 800. And there we go, we set the rank for the VIP group. So if we do PIB group, we can see, there we go, the VIP rank is 800 for the ladder default. I'm not going to go over multiple ladders, we're just going to be using the default ladder for now. If you want to go over that, take a look at the wiki, which I'll provide a link in the description. Okay, that's good. Let's add a prefix to the VIP. So let's do PEX group VIP prefix, and then in quotes we'll have at let's try B. What colour is that? Not sure, but let's give it a go. I think 0 is white. Well, let's see what happens, and then we'll close it with another speech mark. So VIP's prefix is now that. So if I just check my group, we do PEX user, it shows me that I'm in the current group for member. So that's good. What I want to do now is change my group so that I'm in the higher group. So let's promote me. So you remember we did the rank thing. We can use the promotion system. So let PEX promote SoundKit. And that's what you have to do to promote. Okay, so I don't have the high enough ranking to promote me because I'm in a low group. I can't promote myself. What I'm going to have to do is either change it in the config or use the console. So if I do PEX promote SoundKit, and now I've been promoted to VIP. So when I type, it shows the VIP, and unfortunately I failed there. 0 is not white, and it's in fact black. So black isn't the best at showing up, but you can see the VIP is pretty bold there, and it shows VIP. So that's how you promote. You can also demote by doing PEX demote and then username, and this will set them to the rank below. Again, I have to be a higher rank to do it. I can do it via the console, or I can change it in the config, but that's how you do it. And now I'm back into the member group. So that's how the ranking system works. Remembering that the higher the number, the lower the group is. The lower the number, the higher the group is. Okay, so that's the ranking system. And let's add some permission nodes in game. So what we're going to do is PEX group, the name of the group, so let's have VIP, add, and then we'll have the nodes, so lol.cake. And that adds the permission node lol.cake to the VIP group. I can also remove them by doing PEX group member remove, and then the permission node, if I remember it was fake.fake, and there we go, we remove that permission node from the member. We can also add stars here as well. And I believe we can also add world support. So what we'll do is PEX group, group name, which is VIP, add, let's have nether dot swim, I don't know, you can swim in lava or something. And then we have the world name, so nether, it's world underscore nether, isn't it? World underscore nether. And now we've added the nether.swim node for VIP, but they can only swim in the nether because that's the world we defined as the world that would have that permission node. Okay, so let's, we had the demotion and promotion. We could also set users to a direct group by using PEX user, the player name, so Savio, group set, and then the group name. So let's have defaults. So now if I speak, I have no prefix because we defined the default group to not have any prefixes. Let's just change me back. PEX user Savio group set member. But of course I have to be in that group or below that group to have it. You'll notice that the member had the star node. That meant it had all of the commands. That's why I was able to do all the commands. But now because I'm in the default group, I don't have access to those commands. So again, you're going to have to go into the console or change it manually in the config. But I can just do it on the console here. And there we are. So what I did was do PEX user Savio group set member like we did with default, and now I'm back into the member group. So that's great. We can also do that with obviously other players. Instead of putting Savio, we just place their name instead. We can also delete users by doing PEX user player name, so let's have xtorrent, you know it's not on the server, and delete, and there we go, xtorrent removed. Now it says the user is virtual, that's because he's never logged onto the server and it doesn't exist in the config. But if you had a user that was logged on who's been banned, for instance, you might want to delete their permissions like so. So that's basically all of it. It goes over the promotion, demotion. We've gone over how to set people's group. We've gone over how to add or remove permissions for groups. We've gone how to set people's groups. Okay, so one of the cool things about PEX, which I really like, is the ability to give someone group access for a finite amount of time. So let's just show you. For instance, I'm in the group member, and what I'm going to do is set my time in a membership for say 10 seconds. Now this is in seconds and we can change it. So let's just go over PEX user, the username Savio, group add, the group name has VIP, the world name, let's just have world for instance, and then the lifetime in seconds that they'll be in this group. So let's have 10 seconds. So now I'm in the VIP group. If I'm talking in about 10 seconds, it will degrade me back to the member group. So this will be very useful if you wanted to say donations last a month and you get VIP status for a month. You can, instead of putting in 10 seconds, you'll put a month in seconds, which I don't know what it is, but it's going to be a large number. So 10 seconds has been quite a while now. But hopefully, but the theory is that it would change my group back to member once that the lifetime has been up. So that concludes today's tutorial. Quite a lengthy one, I know, but PermissionsEx is quite a big plugin. Like I said, it's one of the permission plugins I would recommend just because of all the features it has. It's great for world support, great for SQL support, supports super perms. It's just a very well done plugin. So thanks for the author for this great plugin. So I'm still VIP group, but in theory it will degrade me back to the member group. Okay, so thank you and goodbye.